Dear students, in this video we will learn about the town life part 3, and in this video we will learn the hardships of the people in the towns, or what sort of difficulties the people in the medieval Europe who were living in the towns were facing. So, we will discuss one after another the hardships of the people in towns. In Middle Ages in Europe, manufacturers, traders, craftsmen and people in general suffered from many hardships. There were different kinds of restrictions. In certain parts of Europe, trade restrictions were too many, and these acted as a wet blanket on manufacturers and traders. Towns which continued to remain under baronial control had to cater to the whims of the lords. For instance, feudal barons would demand dues in the form of fees or wine. Tolls were levied at every village, castle, bridge and ford, and those proved to be vexatious. Wholesale trading was difficult. As a producer, a trader could not dispose of the entire stock to one merchant. Manufacturers, traders and craftsmen had to struggle hard to rise in the society. The barons and the clergy regarded themselves as superior to others and looked down on the trader. Then the coinage problems. Coinage also presented great problems. Impoverished or needy kings and barons debased coins, and antisocial elements cleaved their rough edges. Enough coins were not put into circulation, as gold and silver mines in Western Europe could not meet the increasing demand for coins. Then again, much confusion was caused by different coins being put in the circulation at the same time in Europe, in medieval Europe. Next important point is the inadequate credit facilities. Credit facilities were meagre, and the manufacturers and merchants could not run their business easily or expand it. In the Middle Ages, financiers and money lenders were looked down upon as parasites. The church condemned money lending as immoral and anti-Christian, and even the collection of moderate rates of interest was forbidden. The Jews became unpopular on account of money lending, and Christian conduct could not be expected from them. Next important point is the problem of transport and security. Transporting goods was by no means an easy problem. Dispatch of goods by sea presented special difficulties. In addition to the natural dangers in the high seas, there were man-made perils. Well organized, well financed and well patronized periods made shipping truly dangerous. Sometimes many towns had to pool their resources to fight the menace of the sea dogs. In Germany, the Hanseatic League, having a membership of as many as 80 cities, was established to check the plague of piracy, or to look after the activities of the pirates. Then the next important point is never ending quarrels and disunity. Many towns suffered heavily owing to never ending quarrels and disunity. At times, long standing rivalry between the business houses, guilds or political groups suddenly flared off into a civil war, resulting in much loss of life and property. In certain cases, there was bitter enmity between the cities, which fought recklessly till one of them was destroyed. Then another important point of difficulties or hardship was the lack of security. Towns were plagued by robbers, streets were poorly lit in the night by lanterns hanging in the windows of houses. It was not safe to move out alone in the night, even though streets were patrolled by good citizens in towns or paid watchmen. Towns had walls and a watch was kept, but watchmen were not always able to ward off attacks by armed robbers. Then epidemics and fires. So, towns were also exposed to the recurring plagues and epidemics, as in the last video we have discussed how plagues and certain diseases and epidemics were spreading over. Even the bubonic plague, which we can call as the Black Death, which occurred during this period. So, anyway, so these kind of epidemics, diseases occurred during the medieval Europe. Fires also created havoc sometimes, as because the town was clumsy, there were residences who were attached to one another. So, if a fire occurs, then it created havoc, then in maximum cases a city was to be destroyed. Then let us discuss the contributions of towns. So, what were the contributions of towns during the medieval Europe? Medieval towns had made significant contributions to enrich the culture and civilization of Europe. In the first place, it comes the political contribution. Prosperous towns had excellent administrative machinery, and various successful political experiments were conducted. Through their councils, they made representative polity possible. Rich and populous cities successfully ran their political institutions, and kings were forced to recognize their importance. Representatives of cities and boroughs were given seats in the council of kings. Town councils provided precedents for the establishment of national parliaments. Next important point is economic contribution. Medieval towns made great contribution in the economic field. Commodities of many kinds were produced for meeting the needs of the society. Merchants exported the surplus goods and imported necessary goods from foreign countries. Thus, towns produced much wealth and brought prosperity. Periodical fairs were well organized in important European cities for the display and sale of many kinds of goods. The greatest contribution in the economic field was made by guilds. The cities of northern Italy took the initiative to bring about a transition from barter economy to money economy, or barter transaction to money transaction. They began using coins and standardized coinage. The coins of great cities like Venice and Florence acquired prestige, and in course of time the Florentine florin and the Venetian ducat were accepted at face value by the traders in all countries. Florentine florin and the Venetian ducat were the coins. So, medieval cities developed also the banking system. The Knights Templars of France established the earliest bank which accepted deposits with current accounts. As the cities of Florence and Siena, which also started banks, handled the revenues of the Pope, they secured the prestigious title of the Pope's money changes. So, next is the improvement of culture. Towns did much for improving the culture of society. Social standards in towns went up with the accumulation of wealth. The contract of European towns with wealthy Oriental countries brought about great social changes. Merchants who saw luxurious standards in other countries introduced thorn in their hometowns. People in towns mixed with one another for buying goods and also for hearing the news about the outside world, brought about traders from foreign countries. So, in this way a kind of mixed culture was developed in Europe. People from different areas were mixing each other, thereby their culture was also mixing during that period. Then art and architecture. Medieval towns did much in the field of art and architecture and learning, particularly the Italian cities were vying with one another in contributing richly to art and literature. Florence, Venice and other towns patronized celebrated artists, architects, scholars and poets. In Florence, poets like Dante and artists like Fra Filippo Lippi made classical contribution. Towns had beautiful paintings, pictures, carvings, palaces, churches, schools and monasteries, and they became centers of culture and civilization. The early medieval buildings were in Roman style, but in the 12th century a new type of architecture called Gothic architecture arose during this period. The city of Venice looked like Constantinople on account of its grand buildings, many of which were oriental in style. The medieval town halls and cathedrals built in the medieval age in England, France, Italy, Spain and Germany were far more beautiful than the modern structures. Then inter-town cooperation. Medieval towns set examples of inter-town cooperation. Civic institutions in towns conducted the functions of a state and made treaties with foreign towns. In some cases, many towns cooperated with one another to realize common objectives. In 1167, the important cities of North Italy formed the Lombard League with the help of the Pope to protect themselves from German aggression. In 1241, for mutual cooperation and support, Hamburg and Lübeck formed the Hanseatic League. The league expanded and by 1300 it had a membership of 80 cities from Holland to Livonia. The league organized its own fleet and navy for fighting against pirates. It started industries and expanding trade and commerce by establishing trading stations in London, Novgorod and Borzys and held in shipwrecked sailors. So, now let us come to the conclusion that thus the transition from feudalism to capitalism changed the political, social, economic condition of Europe. In the beginning of the Middle Ages, most Europeans lived in the countryside, but by 1200, however, towns were growing. Many towns were wealthy enough to purchase a charter that they made them independent from feudal lords. An economy based on trade and commerce significantly changed the daily life. Guilds became leading forces in their communities. Farmers brought crops and merchants brought many goods to sell in the town marketplaces. Homes varied depending on how wealthy or poor a family was. Most families had small crowded homes with only a fireplace for heat. For few children were educated. Girls married relatively early and boys began to work as early as at 7. Medieval towns were crowded, noisy, dirty. Diseases spread rapidly and many people could not be cured with medical knowledge of the time. To conclude, the town life in the medieval Europe was not so easy. Thank you. So dear students, if you like my videos, then like it, share it among your friends and subscribe my channel, so that you will get the first notification of uploading my videos. Thank you very much.